All right, so this is a tag that I've seen just around the booktube sphere, and I wasn't tagged or anything, but I just thought that it would be interesting to do because I always think it's fun to see like what stuff people are like just not interested in at all. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. Some books, some authors, genres, things of that sort that I'm just not interested in. So let's get into it. So the first question for this tag is a popular book that everyone loves that you are just not interested in reading. And quite frankly, there are a lot of really popular books out there that I'm just not interested in at all. But for this, I'm going to say both Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I just really honestly have no desire to read either one of those. They don't sound appealing to me at all. So we're going to go with that. The next question is a classic book or author that you don't have any interest in reading. And once again, I'm sure I could name quite a few because I am not a classics reader. So there are quite a few that I just have no interest in reading from. I have no interest in reading Grapes of Wrath. Pretty sure I was supposed to read it in high school. Don't think I ever did. Don't really ever want to. Have no interest in reading Tale of Two Cities, because that sucker's a brick, and I just feel no desire to ever read it. And so, I mean, there's two right there that I just know that I have no appeal to me at all whatsoever. All right, question number 3 is an author whose books you have no interest in reading. There's a lot of authors that I just don't appeal to me, but like first, the one that I could think of was Stephen King, just because I don't read horror. The only one that I might maybe someday read is 11/22/63, because of the historical aspect of it, and I've seen the show, but honestly, it's so big and I'm very intimidated by thick books that I don't think I would read it. So I don't know, but he's just an author that I really don't have any intention of reading. There's a lot of other like very prolific authors, Debbie McAmor, James Patterson, John Grisham. John Grisham I might read at some point, but like some of those authors I have no desire to read any of their books. So there you go. All right, the next one is 3.2. This is like a caveat to question 3, and it's a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. For this, I'm saying Emily Giffin. I used to read Emily Giffin books. I've really enjoyed a few of her books. There are a few that I really did not like at all. But I've enjoyed some of her books, but it's either last year or the year before. I don't even remember now. Probably last year. She kind of came out on social media as just being very, very mean girl to Meghan Markle. Not that I'm a huge fan of Meghan Markle, not that I like back her and what she represents or anything like that, but she was just outright nasty to her, very publicly and very in your face, and I just have no time for drama like that, and I don't care to support people who feel that it's okay to be nasty to people in that way. So I will no longer be reading her books. All right, question 4 is an author you've read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. So for this one, I'm going to say Nick Stone. I do have one more book of hers that I am going to read just to give her like a third chance. But I have read Clean Getaway and Dear Martin. Dear Martin I enjoyed, but I didn't love the writing style of it. Clean Getaway I found problematic in certain areas. And so I think that she just might be an author that's just not for me, but I know so many people love her. And so and I love what she has to say. I love following her on social media. I just don't connect super well with her actual books. So there you go. All right, number 5 is a genre that you have no interest in or a genre that you tried to get into but you couldn't. For me, horror, number 1. I have no desire to read horror. None. Also, romance, really smutty sexual romance, I have no desire to get into at all. I don't judge those who do. It's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. I'm okay with that. So those are the 2 genres that I could think of. All right, number 6 is a book you have bought but will never read. And it says it can be a book that you've unhauled or returned to the library unread, which If you had it from the library, you would not have purchased it, but whatever. That's okay. I bought, when my husband and I were dating, we've been married almost 13 years. When we were dating, I bought a box set of hardback books of the Lord of the Rings series. And it's still in its shrink wrap. I'm never going to read those books. I really honestly have zero desire to ever read Tolkien. I know he's a great writer. High fantasy is not my jam. I tried listening to the audiobook of The Hobbit and was like so bored beyond tears. And I've seen the movies. I fell asleep multiple times watching the movies. I have no desire to read these books. I own them. I will never read them. All right, question number 7 is a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started and DNF'd. I have DNF'd so many series. Like, it's almost embarrassing. I was like going through my Goodreads, like coming up with answers for these, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one too. Like, I have DNF'd so many series. Caraval, by, I don't even remember who now. I read the first one. I have no desire to continue the series. The Raven Cycle, read the first one. Have no desire to continue the series. Game of Thrones, I have no desire in starting. No desire in reading. My husband read them all. I didn't even really care for the show, so that's just me. Mortal Instruments, really anything by Cassandra Clare, I have zero interest in. I read the first book, City of Ashes, something like that. I don't know. It was fine. I have no desire to read any of them. So yeah, Pillars of the Earth, I read the first one, have zero desire to continue with that series. I'm not a series person, really. I have a few series that I really love, but I have a lot that I have DNF'd and a lot that I have no desire to pick up. So there's that. And then the last question, number 8, is a new release that you have no interest in reading. And it was hard for me to like narrow this down because just with the popular books that you have no interest in. Like, I have no interest in a lot of books because I know what I like and what I don't like, and I don't like a lot of stuff. So, like, any of the YA new releases, probably I'm not really going to read unless there's, something specific that strikes my fancy. YA fantasy, 9 times out of 10, not going to read it. Any fantasy, really, not going to read it. Any horror books, not going to read it. There's probably 95% of the romance books out there, not going to read them. Like, there's so many things out there. The one that I did write down is Lore by Alexandra Bracken, because I feel like a lot of people have been talking about that one, but it's a YA fantasy. I'm not going to read it. I did read a YA fantasy last month, and I loved it. So it's not that I don't read them, but there has to be something specific in it that strikes my fancy to get me to pick it up. And same with like pretty much any YA book at this point. There's a lot of them that I just don't have any interest in anymore. And so that's kind of, it is what it is. I've gotten to a point in my reading journey where I know what I like, and I'm not going to, like, it's not that I don't want to expand my horizons, but I don't feel the need to spend time on things that I know that I've tried that I don't really enjoy. I hope that came across right. I don't know. So anyway, those are my answers for the anti-TBR tag. I hope you learned something new about me. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Let me know some of your answers to some of these questions. What are some books that you just are totally not interested in? I'd love to know. And if you have a BookTube channel or an Instagram or anything like that, go ahead and do this tag as well. Or if you have already done it, go ahead and throw the link in one of the comments down below, and I will try to check it out. And I think that is it for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.